Unbelievable. The ultimate banger. The gentlemen are bullish. Hold on. Hold on. Gentlemen, I know we've been holding out on the stream this week. Waited till a Sunday evening. Just wanted to see who the real hustlers were. Who the gentlemen were. Gentlemen that were actually going to ride this bitch to the top. Ride it all the way through. Not early. Not too early, not too late. Just right on time. The fucking Goldilocks of the meme coin market. That's where we're going to exit. Right in the sweet spot. You have the people who were too late in December. Sold at the lows. Capitulated in March, April. Stabled up. Oh no. My meme coin bag is down 80%. How could this have happened to me? There's no crying in the casino, fuckboy. You knew what you were doing. You knew the game that you were entering. You understood the risks, but still mentally you could not handle the minus 80%. The minus 80% that's required for the ability to go plus 10,000% on your bags. Oh, but why can't I just become rich and a multi-millionaire without actually seeing my portfolio go down? Why is it not that easy? Well, because there could be no light without the dark. There could be no love without hate. There could be no 10x on your fucking meme coin if there wasn't a minus 95% drawdown. That's the game you're playing, Playboy. So you're going to cry about it? You can be sad. I thought I was going to be rich already. Why has it not happened yet? I'm going to sell. I need to go pay my mortgage and pay my bills. Cowards. This is what happens when you have patience. When you understand the macro of the economy, the macro of these markets, macro bullish, macro increasing monetary supply, macro diminishing interest rates, macro get Powell the fuck out of the Fed chair, macro bullishness. So maintaining our positions, continuing to develop new positions so that when this eventually happened, as it is right now, which we've been talking about for months, has it been a long 6 months? Absolutely. Have we said that the market was going to continue higher? Have we said that we remain macro bullish? Have we said and shown all the evidence that that was going to happen? Absolutely. You go back 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and you go watch my live streams, look at what the fuck I was saying. Look at what the fuck I was saying. The proof is all there. I've been saying macro bullish, it's okay. And so here we are. Finally ETH season. And that's the other big one too. We've been so heavily positioned in ETH memes and ETH beta plays. This whole cycle, ETH is a sack of shit. ETH will never come back. ETH is dead. The fucking sentiment around the asset, the second largest cryptocurrency in the entire world, has been so bad. Everybody got shaken out. Everybody gave up. So that the heroes, as in me, and the men inside of the Taylor's Code who've ridden and continue to ride this wave with us, we're starting to reap the reward. We're starting to see the benefit of all the capitulation that had taken place over the last 4 or 5 months. And what happens when you have massive capitulation, massive downside the way that we've had on Ethereum for the past 6 months? You get an epic, meteoric rise to the upside in which the likes you've never seen before. This is 2020 Bitcoin price action you're seeing right now on Ethereum. Coming down the pipeline, Ethereum staking ETF. Are you kidding me? When they announce the Ethereum staking ETF, this shit is going to $6,000. You don't think that's coming down the pipeline? You don't think that has something to do with the fact that SBT and these institutions are just fucking flying into Ethereum? You don't think that that's something that's potentially happening down the road? Of course it is. So it is finally ETH season, ladies and gentlemen. ETH is outperforming Solana. ETH is outperforming Bitcoin, the ultimate alt season indicator. Ethereum's outperforming all major altcoins. Incredible. It's ETH season, baby, which means it's almost alt season. And by the way, to everybody else, to all the other people saying, there's no more alt season, you're not going to see it, it's never going to happen again, there's too many assets, it's too diluted, there's pump fun and Solana meme coin trenches, and There will be another alt season, and we're walking right into it. All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at these charts, huh? So, Bitcoin. Up top, we got the RSI Symphony Gradient. RSI Symphony Gradient shows you on the candles where the RSI is at. So down here, okay? So this is not price action. So you see how some down candles are still green, even though the price had gone down. And while others, none moving up though. But yeah, some down candles are green, meaning that the RSI was still strong even though the price was going down. So this RSI gradient shows us momentum, shows us strength in the market. Down here, you saw weakness, 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 weakness. Some weakness here. On this move up higher, we've seen no weakness yet on Bitcoin. RSI is bullish as fuck, okay? So I had drawn this out up top, and this is a good indicator because if we start getting red RSI and this RSI on the daily starts to bleed down and starts to die out, then we're coming back down into here. We're retesting 102,000, but we haven't seen that yet. It actually looks like what's starting to happen on Bitcoin is like what we said here, how you build short to go long on these major assets, okay? You build short to go long. So here, we built short, meaning that we stacked up highs that were not getting broken, so that eventually when we broke the highs, you get this rip to new all-time highs. So you set a high and you build short. Lower high, right? So we got a high, a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, broke through, consolidated right above the wedge, falling wedge, bang, breakout. Okay? So we're actually starting to do something similar on a lower time frame or on a smaller scale right here. We're down. We're moving down. Okay, setting lower lows, lower highs. Tight, bang, rip this week. I'm expecting a rip this week. Why do we know this was going to happen on Bitcoin? Again, for the new viewers, because I know bull market's happening again. The viewership is way up. YouTube channel's getting a bunch of subscriptions. What does that mean? Well, it means that bull market's back on. So people who haven't been around are back around, of course. So the reason we've known macro, we were going to stay bullish, is the M2 liquidity, okay? M2 liquidity is a leading indicator. So we're going to talk about it again because I've heard people say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Yes, it is. Clearly it is. Okay. Leading indicator. Should show you how exciting this is. How exciting this is going to get. Okay. Global liquidity. Global liquidity is how much money is in the monetary system across the world, across the 5 major central banks. Top tier, it's a leading indicator. Bang, top 2 months later. End of September, beginning of October, 2 months later, we top in December. Okay, keep that in mind. Bang, we bottom here. Okay, January, April. So middle of January, right up in here, we bottom. 2 months later, so that would be February, middle of March. About 2 months in a week, but very similar time frame, right? 2 months leading indicator marks the bottom here on Bitcoin. You see that? So this top 2 months later marked the top on Bitcoin. This bottom 2 months and a week later marked the bottom on Bitcoin. Okay. We've broken out now on global liquidity from this high, which made this move on Bitcoin up to 108,000. We've now significantly broken through that high, and the global liquidity is well into all-time highs, okay? And we have not seen any kind of bottoming take place on global liquidity yet. So even if this right here is the Pico top, and let's just say it does do something like this, like that, that means we have 2 months from here for ridiculous altcoin and Bitcoin price action, okay? So we still have all of this move to start to benefit from, because this was the all-time highs. We just broke all-time highs, previous all-time highs from here, right? We just broke that. So in reality, that means we're somewhere in here from this move. So we still have all of this to benefit from, even if this is the top, right? Which is going to be this. So we got ages to go. Okay. And so the point I was going to make is, even if this is the top right here on global liquidity, and we start to see that monetary supply start to dwindle, that money come out of markets, that money come out of risk assets, then what you're going to see happen is, in 2 months from here, so let's mark it out and let's just have an idea time frame of when we should look to start to exit. July 1st, 2 months, August 1st, September 1st. So September, beginning of September, middle of September, likely should call the top on Bitcoin and the top on altcoins. So that's what I'm looking at now. So you don't want to do, there's one of two things, there's one of two buckets you can land in right now that is going to fuck you up. You could be the guy who has been positioned in altcoins for a year and a half, 2 years. You missed the top in December. You didn't take profits. You fucking round tripped all your gains. Some of you, most of you probably lost money too. And now your mindset's at, okay, hold on. Let me just get back to break even. You know what? Let me just get a 2x. Let me get a 50% actually. Let me just make a little bit of money and then I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to get the fuck out. And you can end up selling much too early. Now, the market does require gentlemen like yourself, because that's what allows the price to continue to fucking go parabolic as people FOMO in after selling too early. But what happens when you sell too early now, if you didn't already sell too late at the bottom in April and March, what's going to happen is you're going to see your bags continue to run after you've sold them. And then you're going to chase. And then you're going to FOMO back in higher, thinking that you're going to catch another 2x, one more 2x, one more 3x. It's going to go much higher. ETH to 15, 20,000. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to chase it. And then what you're going to see happen is you're going to catch the top and you're going to fucking round trip and lose your gains again if you had any. Don't fall into that fucking bucket. Second bucket you can fall into. You wait too long. Let's say we do top out in September. Okay. You think we're going up for the next year straight through December again because we went up through December last year. You're going to wait too late. You're going to end up round tripping your gains again. And then you're not going to sell. You're still going to ride it all the way back down to the lows, hoping that, again, you're going to get a pump back up to the highs. And what's going to happen is we're going to go into a bear market and then you're fucked. Okay? So don't sell too early. Don't sell too late. Obviously, right? Of course. Sounds easy enough. Well, the problem is it's not easy to do that. But so what I'm going to mark out for myself is, okay, let's just say that this is the top on global liquidity. In 2 months, I want to have it marked out for the beginning of September. Where's Bitcoin at? If we really start rocking it, should be something like this. Fib at 156,000 on Bitcoin. That's the cycle target. That's what I'm shooting for. Okay. So we're looking for September for a top on Bitcoin. All right. So we got that in mind. We're just eyeing that out just in case that is the top on global liquidity, because it could have just topped out here and it looks like we're starting to dwindle back down. Okay. So if you don't understand why global liquidity is important, just put a message in the fucking YouTube chat, ask, and I'll explain what it is. But September is going to be the date we're eyeing. So actually, let me put that back up. Okay, so we're going to look at that. All right. One last thing we're going to take a look at is RSI, because we took a look at RSI last time, and we were showing how there was still plenty of room to run on Bitcoin. So let's look at RSI one more time just to see where we're at on the daily. Daily's fine. We got plenty of room to run. So I just want to show you something on the daily RSI. So we're back below overbought on the daily RSI. So similar to the last move we had, we came up slightly into overbought territory, came back down, broke back beneath the moving average, jumped back up, and then that was the top. And then we lost the moving average, and then we had to reclaim it. We reclaimed it here, came back up to overbought, come back down. We lost the moving average, just like we did over here. Okay, slightly come down below, slightly come back down to below before probably doing something like this. So there, again, is room to run on the daily. We needed that because you got to cool off on the lower time frames before you can run on the higher time frames. Because the daily is much more over. It's much more overbought, or at least it was, than the weekly. Okay, so look at this. So the weekly never entered overbought territory, even though the daily did. So we come up, we break above the moving average. We make the moving average into support. And now we're just looking to start to break into our move up higher. So on the weekly, we have plenty of room to run. So just to give you some context in terms of moves we had prior, the first big move we had in 2023 into March of 2024, that first top on Bitcoin, that first little alt run, this is what the weekly RSI looked like. Became incredibly overbought as Bitcoin hit 69, 70,000. Okay? Incredibly overbought. Here, slightly. On this move to all-time highs, slightly overbought. Nothing crazy compared to this one. We still have yet to move into the green for Bitcoin here. So what I'm expecting is a move later this week, or certainly at the beginning of August, a move back, another move up higher. We're not going to hang out here for too much longer. I don't really see more pullbacks coming that are going to be significant. It looks like it's going to be moved back up higher because there's plenty of room to run on the daily now and on the weekly. So we can move. So this was just a slight pause, which I figured. We got this move up all-time highs to 123,000. Get a nice massive move back to the downside to 115. What do? You flush out leverage, you flush out shorts, you flush out longs. You start to consolidate, build short to go long. Okay? So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. One last thing, what should we show on Bitcoin? So cycle target 156,000. Bull market trend still intact. Fine. Yeah, I'm just looking to hit this 156. Okay? Ethereum, look at this. Just as we had planned it in terms of filling that CME gaps. So from the highs here, you don't see it on this chart, but I'm going to show it. From the highs here, Ethereum had created multiple CME gaps on the way down on this Jeet. Okay? Demand, supply overhead, busted through that. That's going to be demand now. Okay. The point being is we created CME gaps all the way down on Ethereum. And I said this on a stream before. For those of you who remember, you'll vouch for me on this. I said, if you can get a move this vicious to the downside on ETH. Oops. If you get a move this vicious to the downside on ETH, you can get a move that vicious to the upside. Because why? Why not? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Look at how steep this falling wedge was. Build short. That's building fucking short. Build short to go long. So we went straight down essentially on Ethereum for months. Straight down. Just absolute devastation. Capitulated. People were dying. People were fucking losing their minds out here. It was over. Right? Get this move straight down. See this breakout candle? As soon as you break up above this falling wedge, what happens? Complete breakout. Retest this demand zone. Breakout again. So if this is possible to the downside, why is it not possible for us to absolutely fucking shred it to the upside and do something, you know, like this? I mean, this doesn't even make sense. I mean, this thing's just fucking going vertical. So, but you understand what I'm saying. We went straight down. Why not go straight back up? Well, we are. And look at how fast we got back up to the local cycle range highs. So local cycle range highs are at 4,100. Previous cycle top was at 4,800. ETH is coming for this shit. This is how nuts. This is how fast this happened. From April, May, June, July. A couple months. Went from fucking bear market price levels to already almost back up to macro range highs. As soon as we break out of this range, which we are, so ETH is going for all new all-time highs. It's going to happen, which is right over here, 4,800. It's going to go to all-time highs. First stop, 56.70 is where I'm looking for ETH. 56.70. Okay? 56.70. So ETH is moving back up higher. Solana trying to break this local high. Breaks this local high. Boom. You're going back to range highs. Okay, you break this local high, you're going back to range highs. Solana still has not broken out of the 4-year reaccumulation range. So what do you think happens to Sol? Bang. $403. Going for it. ETH 5,700. Super bullish. If you're this fucking bullish, 8,500. But I would say that's pretty much maximum you're gonna get on ETH this cycle. Could happen. Sol's looking to push up back to range highs, break out. ETH range highs, break out. SPX giving us the tailwind that we need. SPX. Study COVID V-shape recover. This is tariff V-shape recover. COVID. February 20. COVID. March. Boom. Study V-shape recovery. So what's happening over here? Tariff. V-shape recovery. Bang to all-time highs. Look at what we did after COVID. Look at how high we went after COVID. After COVID, the bottom of that V-shaped recover, 120% up from there. Over a 2x. On the S&P 500 was over a 2x. Why? Well, because they printed over 40% of the fucking monetary supply within a year. That's why, because it's hyperinflation. But up 120%. All right, let's see here. We're only up 30. We're only up 30, hairball. We got room to run. Just to the next fib. So 6,800 would be the next target on the S&P. Based off of just this range right here. Right? So I've got this range from April 24. Clear mid-range. Bounced here, bounced here. You know, some interaction in there. It would only be a 41% move from the V-shaped recover. So equities has plenty of room to run. That's going to help crypto tailwind, of course. So you got S&P at new all-time highs. You've got US 100 at new all-time highs. You've got Dow Jones Industrial looking for it. IWM is going to be the one we need to run with ETH. This is basically ETH, right? Except for an index in the stock market. So Russell's is the shitco index. This is all the low cap stocks. This is basically max risk on is whenever you see this chart pumping. This is whenever people are the highest risk, highest reward, moving their profits out of large caps, moving it down into low caps. This is what they invest in. So you get these all-time high push from 2021 last cycle, breakdown, V-shape, starting to break up higher, or push towards range highs again. So you get a breakout on this, an actual breakout to new highs. That's whenever you see ETH really fucking rip, okay? Because that means everybody's full risk on. Okay, so that's another altcoin indicator. You got QQQ, all-time highs. All right, so equities is ripping. NVIDIA, still, same thing, pushing all-time highs. I drew out the fibs on NVIDIA. So for Nvidia, off of this range, the next high would be 191. I would look at that as your next top, next local top. If not, rip into 253. So there's Nvidia. Nvidia, obviously, blue chip. You see Nvidia breaking to new highs. What's going to happen to the rest of the indices? Break to new highs because typically they include Nvidia, which means and Nvidia is a large market cap within those indexes. So this is going to be highly weighted. This is new all-time highs. Other things are going to start to break to new all-time highs in terms of indexes. Just this week, yesterday. Yeah, or not yesterday, but Friday when the market was open. Friday, Coinbase broke to new all-time highs. This is by the way, this is a bullpen candle. This is bullish. This is bullish. Moving up. You get up, down, right in the middle. This is bullish. Bullpen. So, I mean, it basically means a momentum shift. So, Coinbase, which is obviously a crypto exchange, IP'd at $429. Okay? Coinbase IP'd, initial public offering, IPO. IPO'd at $429. Instantly nuked, and this was in April of 21. Isn't that interesting? Coinbase IPO'd at the fucking peak bull run alt season in 2021 last cycle. Second top was where? November 21, last part of the bull run in 2021 cycle. Bear market, you see it die. Just now getting back to all-time highs. What does that mean? Well, obviously this pumps whenever crypto's pumping, correct? Look, topped out where? December 2nd. Where did Bitcoin top out? Early December. Where did altcoins top out? Early December. November, altcoins topped out. April, altcoins. April, May, altcoins topped out. So when you see this pumping, obviously that's bullish crypto. Broke briefly yesterday or on Friday, all-time highs. You get this a significant break to new highs. Again, confluent with crypto absolutely shredding face. It's going to happen much faster than you understand. It's happening very quickly. Okay? So Coinbase is breaking to new highs. Guess what's already at new all-time highs? Robinhood, another crypto stock. Why? Because people go buy the crypto on Robinhood. So here's Robinhood. IPO'd at $37. Peaked at 84. Well into new all-time highs. Well into new all-time highs, Robinhood. Okay? Bullish crypto. Here's Circle. This was also interesting to see this play out. So, also bullish. So Circle is USDC. Circle is the company that owns USDC, the stablecoin. IPO, right here. Up. Create this CME gap right here. Create a second CME gap right here. Came back down, refilled it. We were looking to see if this one got filled again. Did not. This thing's gonna send again. Up. Higher. Obviously, a company that creates a crypto coin. Obviously, bullish fucking crypto. So, everything is looking good, gentlemen. I mean, this is pretty much as prime conditions as you could imagine. VIX continuing to try to get crushed. We need to come back down in this demand zone to be super, super frothy. DXY did exactly what we needed it to do. We need this to chill out, though. We need this bounce to end. Come back down into here. We look fantastic. As we set up here, DXY breakdown here is bullish. We've been breaking down ever since. This was the top. Okay. So we're still looking good there. Now, we had also been looking at, look at this. This is interesting as well. Gold still continuing to consolidate right here. Gold is still consolidating. We may get this eventual last push up to the 3.618. We'll see. I don't really have an opinion on that right now. This is the important one. Okay. It was good that 10-year yields stopped in this supply zone and it's starting to come back down. Like I've said before, 4.5% on yields is the magic number. When 10-year government bonds are yielding more than 4.5%, typically the S&P 500 returns within a few percent for the year, like 2%. Terrible. When 10-year yields are below 4.5%, they yield close to 20%. Equities yield close to 20%. Why? It incentivizes investors to do one or the other. If the yields are too high, investors are going to do what? Move their money into safe, no risk, virtually, backed by the U.S. military, safe, no risk bonds get a guaranteed return because the yields are high. Easy money. If the yields are too low and it doesn't make sense, investors are going to move out of the bonds and do what? Into risk assets, more return on their asset or on their money. So we need this to stay low. We cannot see this go back above and start breaking up higher. Then we're going to look cooked. Then we don't look good there. So we need to lose this level again, come back down in here, and then come back down in here. September 24, when crypto started to really run again. Or no, yeah. When crypto started to run really again, it fucking August 5th was here. Bottomed. And then as this bottomed, altcoins started ripping. Okay. This is the drawing I drew on Pepe. Okay. Drawing's looking like to play how we expected. So I had this drawn out from here. It's going to do a little move up. Break through the range high. Bottom here in this supply. Right. Consolidate likely right above the range high. Bang. Bear case. 1.618 fib. Make new highs on Pepe. So this is what the Pepe chart looks like. So demand came into our demand zone perfectly. Coming back up. We still haven't broken the previous high. Once we break these previous highs, you're going to see us pop up into here. Boom. Pop up to the 1.618. So Pepe is going to be a fire move. Brett did what we expected it to do in this demand zone. Popping back up. We need to break the previous high. Brett on base. So here's some looks at this. Curling back up. Andy, though. Andy and Wolf are ahead of Brett and Pepe. So people are positioning into Andy and Wolf before the other Boys Club members. So looking to break. Once Andy breaks this previous high from May, that's when you're going to see us really start to run up into range highs. Because once we get past the mid-range, it's going to be range highs minimum. Okay? That's Andy. Wolf is about the same exact position in terms of trying to break this previous high, except it's already pushing towards range highs. It's going to look for a breakout. Okay, so Boys Club looks fantastic, looks primed, obviously, because Ethereum looks fucking fantastic. Here's hype. Let's go to the hype charts. It's Pepe. Okay. So who could have foreseen this? Had the fibs drawn out on hype. Get up to, let me put this in log. There we go. Okay. So we set our range. We bounce between 1.618 and the 1 top of the range. So we tagged this perfectly on this move in June. Pull back. Come back down to range highs. Tag it perfectly. So hype, we know, respects fibs. Breaks back up. Does what? Breaks back above. Creates support. Looking to make a push again. Hype is going to hit these targets. Look at the targets that we had set out for hype. I said, this is your zone right here. This is your fib confluence. 2.618 from the linear, 1.618 from the logarithmic Fibonacci confluence. Guess where this puppy's heading to? Bang, right in here. Bang. Here, leave Moonbag in case we just continue to fucking cook insane. but this is what I'm expecting on hype. So there's still a lot of juice left in hype. But there's more juice in the hype beta, which is Per. Per has not begun to run yet. Per is actually lagging hype pretty hard right now, which is okay. One, I've been loading up on more Per, and we've been inside the Discord talking about loading up more Per. So we've been loading it up. And, oops, what the fuck? We've been loading up more Per here. It's consolidating, it's moving sideways, okay? This is accumulation. This is getting accumulated right here. Per is about to fucking light on fire once hype tops. When you see hype top, you're going to see all those whales rotate their profits, keep it on the exchange, and rotate it into what? Right into Per. Same way it happened last pump. Same way it happened last alt top, which was in December of 2024. You saw that happen. You see this massive rotation into Per from hype. So I'll show you like this. So this is the play we're doing on Hyperliquid. Okay. Bottom. Top. 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 This wasn't a top. It's just the chart doesn't go back far enough, but you get the point. Top, top. Hype draws down. Per draws down. Hype bottoms. What does Per do? Bottoms at the same time. Hype tops. Per tops. Hype tops. Per tops. What do you see here? Hype is getting ready to do something disgusting based off of what this is doing. In theory, if this is at a new all-time high hype, you would think that Per would have done this with hype. So it looks like it may have decoupled. Well, what I believe is happening is this is actually getting suppressed. And getting accumulated. Within this range. And once this breaks this range, you're going to see new highs on Per. Why? Because you're going to see this waterfall effect from the move that we're going to continue to get on hype up to $100. And Per's going to lag. Per will go up, but it's not going to go up against hype until hype tops. When hype makes its top and it starts to distribute and then start to move lower, that's when you're going to see Per break out of this accumulation and break out to new all-time highs. It's going to do disgusting numbers. It's going to do, conservatively, in my opinion, I say 5x. It's going to $1. If it's at 18 cents right now, it goes to $1. There's over a 5x. So you can see the relationship between the two, right? As hype bottoms, Per bottoms. As hype tops, Per tops. Except for right here, which this looks like a price suppression to accumulate by whales, which obviously in the long run is good for us. So there you have it. So this looks like a sideways accumulation on Per. And guess what I did? Bought some here, bought some in here. Why not? Right? It's accumulating. So I'll accumulate. I'll accumulate as well. And look, isn't that funny? First fib on Per, 95 cents. So I would start looking to take some bread, shave some off in here. Little 5x. Okay. Love Per. Per's a great play. Who could have foreseen this? We were saying this is the ban zone. I saw this move. I said, it could be the bottom. Boom. ETH BTC. This is the first time this entire cycle in 4.5, 5 years, the first time that we're actually seeing ETH BTC uptrend. We've never been in an alt cycle, a meme coin pump, a altcoin run, this entire cycle in which ETH was outperforming BTC, creating a headwind, or no, creating a tailwind for our altcoins. It's the first time. And you see that ETH is chatting and Bitcoin is moving sideways. Why? Because Ethereum is finally starting to get some of its value back against Bitcoin. Because up in here, ETH was at 4,000 when Bitcoin was at like 60K. Here, ETH is less than 4,000 while Bitcoin's at 120K. That's why this chart went down. So the value of one Ethereum went down against a Bitcoin because Bitcoin's worth a lot more now, but Ethereum's worth the same, if not less. That's why this chart moved down. Now we're finally starting to get a move up, which means that one Ethereum is becoming more valuable against a Bitcoin. That's what we need for a true vault season. This is what we need here. This move back up higher. And what are we looking for? We're looking for this puppy right here. This supply zone. This bounce that took place right here. Clear demand. Clear demand. When we lost it, it was over. This is in May of 24. Okay. We get this pumping back up higher into here. And oh my goodness, imagine if we broke through. If we broke through, disgusting. Disgusting numbers. Because one Ethereum will be worth more against a Bitcoin than previous. So we got this fantastic tailwind on ETH BTC. This is also why we know ETH is going to continue to outperform this cycle. Look what we were talking about with Sol ETH. So this chart signifies Solana paired against Ethereum. If this chart is going up, Solana is outperforming, gaining more value than Ethereum, and vice versa. If Ethereum is doing better, this chart moves down. We have this upward channel. You build long to go short, right? Build long to go short. So we had this upward channel. We lose it here in May of 25. Ever since Ethereum's been fucking crushing. Once we lost this upward channel, this was such a significant channel that once we lost it, look, puke. And we've been saying that. I've been saying that on the stream. Puke, dead, died. This is coming all the way back down into here. Once again, ETH season. So if you're not already positioned in the correct ETH memes, I suggest you do so. If you're not already positioned in the correct ETH, what's it called? Use case tokens like Aave, fucking all the DeFi protocol tokens, Uniswap, etc. If you're not already positioned in those, you need to do so very quickly because they're going to continue to outperform. If you need to know which ones and when and how much and when to sell, join the Taylor's Code. Link is in the description. Okay? Join the Taylor's Code. Join as a gentleman. You're going to get access to the private Discord. You're going to get access to the private crypto place section of the Discord. We're going to get access to myself and see all of my positioning, when I'm buying, when I'm selling, all the analysis, all the TA, 7 days a week, as opposed to waiting on stream. It's also a link in my Twitter bio, thetaylorscode.com. Join, and I'll get you set up before this actual real pump takes place. Last chart we're going to go over, this one. Look at this chart. Bang. Called the move. Bang. Called the move. Bang. Called the move. We broke this previous high on the others, excluding top 10. So this is the altcoin market cap. This broke this previous high at the least range highs. Probably some consolidation here at the highs. Bang. Up to the 1.618. Where the fuck is there? It is. That's Bitcoin. This is the target. Disgusting moves. All right, so we're looking good, gentlemen. We are looking good. Outside of that, it's a late stream. Just want to get on, make sure I give you guys some fire real quick. Got over 40 live viewers. Not bad. It's bull market starting to come back. That's how you know, gentlemen. Once the numbers start getting above 100 viewers live, which we had at the top in December, once we start getting back to 100, 200, 300 live viewers, I would look to start to take profit, gentlemen. I would look to start to take profit. But this others, market cap chart we're looking at right now, expect this to look a lot fucking crazier in a couple of months. We're going to see new all-time highs on this bad boy. And that's whenever we fucking get paid. All right. Pepe. Pepe is number one. Let's fucking go. Pepe is literally in the chat as we speak, gentlemen. Pepe just said Pepe in the chat. Incredible. Also, what was I going to say? Oh, you probably want to see Pepe chart, Bomba Clot. You should have been on earlier, player. What was I going to say? Oh, just something to leave you with. They say idiots buy crypto. And it's always the retards that say that.